So I think it goes without saying that having an effective review strategy, review velocity, and review volume on Amazon is a critical strategy to finding success on the marketplace. You could also say that it is harder than ever to implement review strategies given some of the TOS restrictions and risks that Amazon has put in place to seek reviews from your customers. So the purpose of this presentation is really just to review the core review strategies you can leverage to improve your review rate and velocity. And I know it goes without saying, but I really want to kind of call out a core point here in that a good product and an offer experience that exceeds the expectations of the customer is the best way to win with reviews. Ultimately, there's two reasons why customers tend to leave a review, good or bad. On the bad side, if they've just had a bad experience, the product doesn't work, or you totally misalign with the expectations that they had, they're going to be motivated to log into their computer, go in, and actually leave a bad review. It's a lot harder to get customers to leave positive reviews unless you really create a +1 experience for them with the product, the offer, and the overall ability that you're able to deliver a solution for whatever they were looking for. So keeping this psychology in mind, I think is really important, that you ultimately do have to have a deeply beneficial product and offer that aligns with what the customers are expecting. And really just some basic questions to ask yourself here is your product good? I think a lot of times people that don't get good reviews or good review velocity, they kind of are looking for a hack or an insert or something that will give them reviews. Well, guess what? If your product sucks and it's not compelling, you're not going to get review velocity and you're not going to get good review ratings. So you've got to really ask yourself a number of questions. Is your product unboxing and first use compelling? You've outlined this experience through your listing photos and your bullets and the price and everything that you've kind of described in your offer. Does it actually meet that expectation when it's opened and when it's used for the first time? If it doesn't, you're not going to get good reviews and you're not going to get good review velocity. Have you addressed the friction points? Oftentimes the usage of products, unless they're like dead simple, may require some elements of user error or user experience to be able to implement. So if you understand what those potential user errors are or those challenges in first getting a good experience with the product, you need to really outline how you can overcome those with your product, your description, and how you kind of describe how to use the product within packaging. And then finally, a core question, does reality match expectation? Again, what you promised in your listing photos, in your video, in your content, does that align with what actually gets delivered to the customer? And making sure that you've got that congruence between expectation and reality. Another core point is that sales velocity is going to equal review volume. This is the Amazon flywheel, right? The more you sell, the more reviews you're going to get. The more reviews you get, the more you're going to sell. So it's this self-perpetuating flywheel that you just have to make sure that you're effectively selling, ranking, and getting sales on Amazon, because that's going to be another strategy that's going to lead to reviews that your competitors are going to have a difficult time replicating. So looking here again at the flywheel, you can just see, right? If you get sales, it leads to more reviews, leads to more organic ranking, traffic, offers better, conversions better, goes to more sales, more reviews, and this is how it continues. So changing the review game, this has really kind of been pretty dynamic throughout Amazon's history. You used to be able to buy reviews and they got rid of that. Then they implemented more structure in terms of how you go about getting them with their systems, and they removed those. And more recently, there's been some pretty massive seller bans, specifically with China-based sellers that were incenting reviews with inserts. And we're talking 9-figure businesses that were about to go public. So there's been thousands of these bans. FTC has regulations around incentivized reviews that they've been holding Amazon's feet to the fire to making sure that they're actually regulating that within their platform. They got rid of the early review program as a result. Automated emails and messaging sequences, while you can still technically use them, have gotten a lot more risky given some of the structure changes that came out in Q4 of 2020. And then there's insert card risk now too, because we know that Amazon's been paying attention to what exactly are you saying and incenting in your review cards. And if you get caught with your hand in the cookie jar, I would say that reviews is probably up there with one of the most critical things that Amazon will suspend and never look back. So it's definitely a dynamic playing field that's kind of developed here over the last year. So what we're going to go over is really the new review playbook that we've been implementing into our Amazon businesses. It starts with an automated review request. So one of the cool things that has changed with Amazon is they've enabled an automated review request to their customers that you can trigger on the platform. It's very manual within their system, so we're going to go over the Sellerize process to automate this. There's also other software platforms out there that will automate it for you. We're going to talk about our VIP customers and then super friendly sales push that we like to deploy, especially at launch, and how that can lead to review momentum. We're going to talk about one of the few remaining programs left to actually get paid incentivized reviews, which is the Vine program, which is the last one that is left since they got rid of the early review program. We're going to talk about inbound customer service and how that can be used to both deflect negative reviews and also help gain momentum with positive reviews, especially if they reach out to you off of Amazon. And then finally, we'll get into some of the lead funnels, insert strategies, and off Amazon communications, which we're going to cover in depth in another video. Throughout all of this too, I think the other thing that's a key part of the review playbook is these are all strategies that you can do to instigate review velocity for your brand or your product on Amazon. But underlying this, you're going to get some negative reviews as well, 1, 2, and 3-star reviews. So we also have some strategies that are super critical to address and change bad reviews that happen. And I think that's as important as actually trying to instigate new reviews for your brand. So the first and I think easiest and core element is the automated review requester. This is where you find it within the Sellerize platform. You can set configurations that will basically request automated review requests based on certain criteria. You can change how long those are delayed after the product gets shipped. You can ignore those with refunds, repeat buyers. If they've left seller feedback for lower stars, you don't have to request those. You can also set them at the product level. So say you've got a product that you know takes longer to experience, you could delay that review request to say 20 days if you want. Then there's some really cool reporting in the order list, which can show what messages have been sent out, whether or not they've actually delivered a review and feedback for your account or not. So honestly and truly, it sounds simple enough, but I think that this is probably one of the most fundamental strategies that you can do to increase your review velocity above like natural rates. And it's totally TOS compliant. Amazon wants you to do this. And I think that this is really one of the more effective things that you can do in your business for review strategy. The next is going to be our VIP customers that we've identified, as well as super friendlies that may have purchased from us. So it goes without saying that fans of your brand have a massive propensity to leave reviews. If they bought your product before, they've signaled that they liked it, they've self-identified themselves as a fan of your brand and become part of a VIP program, or maybe they buy multiple times, they're much more likely, especially if they've reviewed in the past, to review your products again in the future. Equally important, especially at launch, is super friendlies as well that buy. We just know that even without violating Amazon's terms of service and incentivizing and then asking for reviews or doing a quid pro quo, hey, you only get an incentive if you leave a review. We don't do any of that stuff, but still these customers have a high propensity to leave your reviews. So the more of these that you can get in the mix, especially when you're early in a product's life cycle, will really help improve that review velocity and that review count that is so critical to getting that early social proof that will help conversion rate and organic rank on Amazon. The next is Vine, and this is really the last incentivized program left that we can actually leverage as sellers. If you go to the advertising section, drop down to Vine, you'll go into a page like this. And if you've got a new ASIN, I don't know the exact time, I think it's like the first 3 months that you can do it when an ASIN's live. You can basically select that ASIN and select how many you want to serve up for the Vine program. So let's say I've got a new launch and I want to actually provide 20 units to Vine reviewers. Amazon will then take that product. It will be free product for the Vine reviewer. They will give them the option to participate in that program. If they do, they're going to get sent the product for free, but then they have to leave a review. We're not paying the customer. Amazon manages this all behind the scenes. And only Amazon qualified buyers can actually be part of the Vine program. So they're pre-vetted to be quality reviewers. So this is one way that if you want kind of a guaranteed way to get reviews, you can absolutely do that with the Vine program, and we recommend it. Just keep in mind, however, that these are not going to be always positive reviews. In fact, sometimes these Vine reviewers, because they take their role as reviewers very, very seriously, they can tend to be pretty critical of products at times too. So you want to make sure that you have a compelling offer that aligns with what you're representing, because that will need to be revealed for the Vine reviewer to give a positive review. That said, I've always found that if you've got a quality product and the Vine folks are actually self-selecting that they want the product, usually that alignment turns into a positive review. But know that it's not a guarantee with this program. All you're guaranteed is that you're going to get a review, not necessarily a positive one. The next element that we focus on is really inbound customer service. This is one I don't really see talked about enough. Here's an example of a customer just recently in the last week that messaged us. They basically had an issue with one of our products. It was like on a weekend, so I happened to be on my phone. I basically shot a message like 10 minutes after we received it. I said, sure, just let us know your address. We'll ship out a replacement Monday. Sorry for the inconvenience. And then, look at her response here. Dang, you're speedy. Smiley face, thank you. So what we'll do in this case is we're going to ship out a replacement because they had one that I think it was like 4 or 5 months old that broke. No questions asked. We replaced it even though it was outside the 30-day return window. We're going to ship that out. A good strategy here, because this came through our Shopify contact page and into our Gmail account, is we'll follow up with this customer in say a week if they don't already reply to us saying that they received it. We'll just say, hey, we wanted to make sure you got taken care of, Tiffany, and then everything's good to go now. And then if she responds and says, yes, awesome, thanks so much for sending it out, really appreciate it, then we can reply and say, glad we were able to help. It would be really awesome if you dropped a review on Amazon. It helps us out a ton. Hope you enjoy your replacement. Have a great day. We'll say something like that that's casual, that doesn't say they have to leave a positive review, etc. But now we've got an active customer that we're engaging with, and we've solved their problem significantly and given them a good experience. Riding the coattails with a review request manually via Gmail here can be a fantastic strategy. And I've found that honestly, if you've got a customer that's had a negative experience with their product, or they're reaching out because they've got a question or they need you to solve something for them. If you match that with a brand aligned customer service approach, most people really, really appreciate good customer service now. And they're more than willing, even if they've had a negative experience, if you solve that for them, oftentimes they're the first ones that will leave positive reviews, even without asking. So think about inbound customer service off of the Amazon platform, especially if they've kind of messaged you through your website, and how you can actually activate those experiences to gain new reviews from those customers. You can also use these customers if they reached out and said they had a positive experience with your brand or a positive experience with your product. You can add them to VIP customer lists, and again, you can ask them for feedback on Amazon if they don't mind doing it. So use those email inbound inquiries as well. And then the final one here, just to think through, is doing actual inserts and having these lead funnels so we can capture customer information and integrate some communications off of the Amazon platform to potentially instigate reviews in future business. So the whole process here is to have a really compelling value-added insert that gives people a reason to want to actually reach out and activate the call of action on the insert. We then send them usually via QR code or URL to a Typeform funnel, which we're going to get into in another video. And then we basically grab their information, whether it's an email and or an address, and we can then use that information in an automated way after the fact to actually reach out for additional feedback on a product. So we're going to get into both inserts and this funnel strategy in a separate video, but this is one of the, I would say, more strategic, creative off Amazon approaches that we still implement within our business. So that is the core review strategy.